The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Friday in the Rev. And let's get to the COVID right away because it's so important.
Yes, it is. Okay, Massachusetts COVID numbers. Yesterday, total cases 636,476. New cases 1,431. Total deaths 17,168. Total new deaths 17. Bristol County, 63,758. Now, the mayor did not post Fall River's numbers, but they did release the city did release a press release. So for Fall River weekly COVID numbers, we had 154 cases over the past week, giving us a total of 13,666. We've had 4 new fatalities, bringing us to a total of 364 new fatalities. Or total fatalities, excuse me. So, but that came from the city of Fall River. That didn't come from the mayor. So I don't know if the mayor feels it's no longer necessary to provide the numbers to the public, or if because the numbers are going down, it's becoming less and less important. So we'll see. I do know that they are doing COVID vaccines today and Sunday again. I believe today is, let me see. I want to get this right. I don't want to give the wrong information and be blamed for something.
Oh my God. You know how he gets about his little, except only in certain cases. Though.
Right. Yep. Today, Friday, April 23rd from noon to 7 p.m. at the Niagara Maplewood Senior Center on Tucker Street. Saturday, April 24th from 10 to 5 at the Mary Fonska Elementary School. And Sunday, April 25th from 10 to 5 at the Mary Alfonska Elementary School. That's at 160 Wall Street. So walk-ups will be accepted, but they prefer that you register to get the shot. They are Pfizer vaccines, from what I've been told. So it's something to look at. So if you haven't gotten your shot yet and you want it, you don't have an excuse why you can't get it this weekend.
Well, yeah, COVID. Are we still in a red zone?
Yes, we are. But we're trickling out of it.
We're trickling out of it, but we're still in a red zone, which means that we have a lot of cases here in response to them, which is segues into our next move here, right?
Well, I understand that yesterday there was a slight uprising. I'm being polite. Uprising in Government Center. And a little birdie told me that you were involved in it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I suffered the same fate you did with the mayor. He decided to question a statement that I made, not on it in its full context, but just glean out the part he wanted, and then which number one, it was improper to even be discussing it because it was at a PEC meeting. But I'll get to that one part first, and we'll take it a little out of sequence. So, because he lost it and proved that it was personal rather than professional, because he started yelling when we were discussing a healthcare holiday, which we shouldn't have been discussing. At that time, we had an agenda, and he interrupted it. Just walked in for his own political gain. But he said that I said that 90% of his family worked in a school department, and that's a lie. I'm a liar. Well, I don't actually remember if I said that or not, but
you did. You did say that.
Okay, I did say it, and I probably did say that, but it was, let's put it in a context of that he's a politician and most of his family are. But I'm gonna accept responsibility, but I'm gonna do what he does and his CFO does. That's not a lie. That's just not an accurate number. So I'll use Mary Sahadi's excuse. I just overprojected. Because that's what she says when she pads the bill, when she put in $5 million on the healthcare and she added life insurance and stop loss insurance to a healthcare premium, she was padding the bill. So I overprojected. But I'll tell you what I'll do. If it's that important to you, and I know you're watching or your minions are watching, and they're all going to run back to you and say everything that we said today, I'll tell you what. I thought about it. There are only 3 Cougans I know. 2 of them work in the school department, and the other one used to work in the fire department. So they all had jobs, and they were all political. Because we know what happened to your brother on the fire department and the political machinations in his life. So the point to that statement was that you're a politician. You come from a political family, not only immediate family, but extended family. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. You let me know how many working age people in your family, including your extended family, the Longs, have had or ever had a political job, state, county, or municipal job, and I will put the exact, I'll do the math, I'll put the exact percentage, but really the percentage is irrelevant. The fact is you're a politician, and I called you that. Now let's get to the meeting. He came down to a public employee committee meeting, just walked in and decided he was going to dictate again. We went through this before, that he wanted not 1, but 2 holidays, and we should give that holiday because we've got a lot of money in our trust fund. And then he started reading over how much we had when we gave previous holidays, which is apples and oranges, because the dynamics of those holidays were completely different. He has no idea what we had projected for healthcare costs in the upcoming year, how much we had in the fund prior to giving out the bills. And we also didn't have a pandemic. I see the irony, the duplicity of this, that here we are in the middle of a pandemic, and we know that there have been procedures, elective procedures, which have been put off for a year. Hip replacements, even cancer screenings, doctor's visits, a lot of stuff has been put off. Every single healthcare provider in a state is now using a COVID factor when they've set their premiums, because they've estimated it will take between 1 and 3 years to absorb that extra billing, because that's going to come in and above the normal billing for the year. But unlike the mayor, we have fiduciary responsibility. Just because we got $7.5 million, he wants us to spend $2.5 million of that, $2.4 million, because it costs $1.2 million for us to give people a holiday. So he wants our trust fund to go down basically to $5 million. And we need that cushion, because unlike the mayor, we can't just raise taxes if our numbers are wrong. All I asked, I wasn't against the holiday. All I asked was that we get numbers and projections to see if we could absorb that and give a holiday. And I wanted it at Christmas, but the mayor wants it now and then again so he can use it on his campaign platform. So it got a little heated. I pointed out to the mayor that in 40 years of doing this, I have never had a mayor come down. And there was one other man there, ironically, Paul Ferreira from the school teachers, who goes there with Rebecca to give her some insight, because he's the only guy that's been involved in the healthcare as long as I have. And I told him, never in 40 years as a mayor, come down to the PEC or the IAC and tell the employees how to spend their money. And not only tell them, say, demanded we take a vote. And I told him, this is pure political reasons. I'm not going to, I said, everybody can vote their conscience, but if I'm not going to vote without numbers. I said, and by the way, Mr. Mayor, you didn't complain when we had to give the city a $900,000 loan to keep the Canadian drug plan. And by doing that, we saved the city $2 million a year. So instead of having a $54 million total cost of next year for healthcare, it would have been about, I don't know, 80 million, 85 million. I'm getting those numbers as we speak, because factor in $2 million more for healthcare for the last 4 years and then attach that to a premium, you're looking at a massive increase. Every employee would have been paying more. The city would have been paying more, and we couldn't afford healthcare. So we would have been in a GIC, and they would have got screwed, because the only way they can do it is shift costs to the employees. So now he's out there, and what really pissed me off is he's trying to make the people that go down to that city hall at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. And on my case and Joe Castro's case and Rebecca Cusick, we go down and review the pharmaceuticals too. They put in their time for no compensation to try to maintain it. And we have maintained it. The reason that we've always been viable and running under budget is because the work we do. This is not just, but see, the mayor goes in and he applies the city way you handle money. You got it, spend it. Screw it. We don't care if that money's incumbent. We don't care if that money was there to pay bills that now are going to come. So how are we going to pay those bills? How are we going to pay for the hip replacements and the knee replacements and the cancer screenings that are being made up from last year, and the hip replacements and the knee replacements and the cancer screenings and the other medical that we're going to get in a normal year? They're piggybacked. We're in the midst of a pandemic. They're talking about strains. They're talking about everything. And he goes down there and starts saying, well, you guys have got a lot of money, and, people want money. So I pointed out to him that the city employees and everybody else just got a $1,400 check. And, because he wants to do it now so he can use it as a campaign platform. I'm not in favor of it. I'm in favor if we can give a holiday. If the numbers say that, well, we look at this and an expert tells me that they think that's going to be more like 3 years, so it's going to be a trickle rather than a tidal wave, we take the shot, but it's a vote. And I also told him, and he's saying, well, the committee votes on it. It's not me. I'll vote my conscience like I always do. And I'll vote it based on numbers and on my fiduciary responsibility to that system. And of course, the mayor conveniently forgot a couple of things. Like when he was on a school committee and he couldn't understand it, who did he call? Me. To explain the healthcare system to him. He conveniently forgot that. It seems that everybody in the school department can't figure out healthcare or how we use our trust fund. Our trust fund is there to make sure that the employees don't get hammered with a gigantic increase and that we tank the system and give them an excuse to shift more costs to us. Yeah, there was a lot of fireworks, and I called him out, and he was unprofessional. He challenged me. This show talked about everything, which was totally inappropriate. He was at a public employee committee meeting talking about healthcare. We were discussing healthcare. The agenda was not Spindle City Straight Talk, and the fact that he's pissed off at me because I talk about him on a show. So I'll correct the number. Just tell me everybody in your family. But what's more important is I called him out in front of everybody because I don't care. He wants to talk about me, and I called him what he is. I said when he left, my parting words to him is, you've proved you're nothing more than a politician.
Yeah, well,
That's the story.
you know, that's it. Now, is it true that he's looking for 1 or 2 holidays?
Oh, we've never given more than one.
Yeah.
He wants 2, so he can run around and say, "I got you that." Not the PEC, those people who are giving up their time and looking at numbers and trying to do the right thing. But we're not going to just give it because we got extra. It's not extra money; it's incumbent money, and that's what he does. He tells half truths and he lies about it. Because look, if he was really concerned about accuracy of numbers, CJ, do you remember the PEC meeting you taped?
Yes.
It's on YouTube. Fall River Public Employee Committee meeting. Go on YouTube. You can still find it. At that meeting, did we not, with him in the room and Mary Shahade in the room, establish that the plan was going up 5.7%, not the 8% that Mary Shahade said, right?
Right.
And the next council meeting, she went back in front of the council and said it was 8% again to make the city look like it was broke. So did she lie? Did she overproject? Why aren't you concerned about that, Mr. Mayor? Why did you not give accurate figures to the city council and people of Fall River? You allowed when you knew you were in the room. You can't duck this one, buddy. It's on tape. It was 5.7%, not 8%. And Mary Shahade went in after that meeting and used the 8% again. So you're only concerned about little technicalities and numbers when CJ says it or I say it. So don't give me that crap, because that's all it is. It's crap. And you're a politician and you're trying to get reelected. And I'm saying, look, we were talking about a holiday before you ever brought it up. I hate to tell you this, but as soon as you scored a 7.5 million, the first thing out of somebody's mouth was, well, what do you think about a holiday? I said, yeah, we can think about it. We can talk about it, but we got to get some numbers because, sometimes we have $1.5 million to $2 million fluctuation just in the regular billing. He wants us to chop 2.4 million because it's 1.2 million, around 1.2 million to give a holiday out of our fund. 2. So add it. 1.2 and 1.2 is 2.4. So you're fundamentally going to chop that fund down to 5 million. And now we're gonna get a $2 million fluctuation in the regular billing, and we're down to 3 million. Sounds like a lot of money, but it's not, because that money's there for a reason. If we do get a massive spike in healthcare, which we can't do, that we can then say, okay, we're going to contribute this trust fund, give it back to the employees to reduce their premium for that year as a mitigation factor. There are a ton of things. It's very complicated. And he makes it real simplistic. Spend the money and don't worry about it. But we have to worry about it because we've got 5,000 employees and their families who are dependent on having a stable healthcare system. So, he can kiss both cheeks as far as I'm concerned, because if we can give it, we will give it. But I'm not going to vote for 2. I'm going to vote for 1, and I'm going to give it to them at Christmas time when they really need the money. They just got a $1,400 check. I'm going to vote for Christmas and then say, let's keep tracking it. And if that money stays stable, we can look at another one next Christmas. But I'm going to do what I feel is fiduciary responsible, and everybody else on that committee can vote whatever they want to vote. But I will have the numbers to prove my position, as I always do.
Good. I was gonna ask, about that, and that's usually, when do you usually give a holiday? So I'm glad that you mentioned that it's usually around Christmas time, and I think that's a great time to have a holiday because Christmas is a holiday, and you can always use the money for Christmas gifts. So it sounds like a good plan. Imagine that government doing a good plan. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's because government didn't do it; the employees did it. Like I said, that I'm absolutely flabbergasted. I've been doing this since 1981. I have never, ever seen a mayor even mention the employee trust fund and how to utilize the money. Statutorily, it says that they are only the custodian of the funds. They have nothing to do with it. It's our money. It's our decision. And we will make that decision based on what's best to protect the system and the employees, not to help his political future.
Well, I have a question for you. Is it normal for a administration personnel like the mayor just show up at a PEC meeting? Or should the mayor be requested to, get an invitation to attend the meeting?
Well, yeah, that's a great point, and I actually said that to the PEC afterwards. The IAC and the PEC is statutorily created. The IAC is made up of 7 members from unions and 1 member representative for the retirees appointed by the mayor, which is why I'm not the IAC, I'm the PEC. The PEC is a member from each bargaining unit, every single union, either appointed or elected by that union, and a retirees representative who it happens to be me, who is appointed by the state retirees association, and that's who appointed me. And so those things are statutory. That's the committee. When we have a meeting, what they don't understand, and I had to reiterate it yesterday, was anybody else at those meetings is there by invitation only. If we have an agenda item and we have to talk to Gallagher about numbers, Gallagher's in the meeting. When I was the chairman from 81 to I don't know when, it was over 24 years, around 20 some years. We didn't have a chairman at first, and we did it later. In all the time I was the chairman, the mayor never went to a meeting, ever. We had the people from the treasurer's office giving us how much we had in the trust fund. We had informational people in there. We allowed them to come into the meetings and participate in the meetings and get feedback from them. But we never, ever had it. And you're right. He just walked in, wasn't on the agenda, and just interrupted the meeting and then deviated, and it wasn't even what he was there for. He started talking about a holiday, and then he decided to go off on personal things about me returning a phone call and Spindle City Straight Talk. So everything he did was wrong because he's motivated by one thing and one thing only: politics.
And spending money.
And spending money. Because, see, in a letter I sent to the council a while ago, I said at the end, I closed that letter, and you got a copy of it. Yeah. And I said, if you want to, if when we're talking about this holiday, and I said we were considering the holiday in writing to them, I said, just look at history. I said, remember we gave them a $900,000 loan and we kept this thing stable. We would have been paying a lot more. And I said, at the end of the year, every time you discuss finances, the city's broke and we've got money because we handle it properly. And it's there, as you said, it's there as a nest egg. It's like, okay, it's used. You think we like to leave it in a bank? We'd love to give everything back to them. But the problem is, if you give everything out of that fund back, and we have a bad year due to the pandemic and a triple year, next year the rates are going to go up $50 a month, $100 a month, and people are going to be going, what the hell's going on? What did you do to me? Well, that's the reason the trust fund was there. But we look at it from a perspective of a fiduciary. He looks at it as a politician. Throw money at it, give him it. We don't care what the consequences are. And I called him on it at the meeting. I said, the problem with you is, you want to give this money away without any numbers because you don't care. Because when it bites us in the butt, you're not going to be around. You're not going to be the mayor. So this is the problem. And, this is the problem with the city. They have unfettered spending. Nobody ever calls Mary Sahadi on their numbers, the $45 million that was actually $40 million. He won't correct that. So listen, I'll correct it. I'll man up. I said 90%. I was being... I was over projecting, as Mary Sahadi said. No, I just wanted to make a ridiculous statement to say that, look, you're a politician. But I think the numbers are irrelevant of how many people you in your family are employed. And I really don't care because I don't care what the rest of you. But the fact is, it was only to establish the fact that you're a politician. And I think you've done that on your own. And this is the most grotesque example I've ever seen of politicizing something. You're even politicizing other people's money.
That's the way it is. That's Fall River. We don't care. We'll just spend. I mean, we had $75 million in CARES Act money. We've got $1.6 million left. Where'd it go?
Yeah. Well, ask the
DCM. We have DCM, which is $1 million deficit. Where'd it go? Where's this money going? They bought trash barrels. Where are they? Where'd the money go? It's the numbers aren't matching up, and there's something wrong here. And there's something, the cheese doesn't smell right. Okay, it just doesn't smell right. It smells like Lindbergher around here, and that's not a good thing.
No, you're right. But see, that's the thing. They don't care about how much money they spend. They don't care. And then they say, well, I'm the bad guy because I want numbers, and I've asked for them, and I'm not getting them. And apparently now I'll get them. But the fact is that we ask for numbers to justify our decisions. So we're the bad guys. He's painting me especially, but the rest of the IAC is people who are like withholding money from our own people, which is BS. We're the people that gave them. We're the people that gave them the holidays before. We're also the people that found the money that they stole and got in 91 and 08. They gave them more holidays. But the other question you have to ask is, you're not worried about Mary Sahadi's numbers, and those are real numbers about real finances. She's misrepresenting cities' money and projections to a council that has to vote on appropriations for that money. And didn't we have a trash task force or something? Didn't he establish that didn't he establish that thing? Doesn't he have a trash task force?
I don't know if Coogan had it. I know that
but it's still in existence, right?
I don't even think they meet. I don't think they met for a
now
long
there's
time.
a big discussion rumor going around about re-implementing trash fees, and I want to know, like the transition team that never met except once. Has the trash task force been disbanded, or has it ever met? And does it have a report? I think not.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see because it's close up on hand. Just so people know, today at I believe 11 o'clock, Jean St. Pierre is going to have an interview of the police chief about the Facebook post that was made on the city's Facebook page in regards to Derek Chauvin and George Floyd. And the comment was something along the lines of Derek Chauvin stood up, put his hands behind his back, and was walked out. If George Floyd had done the same thing, we wouldn't be in this situation. People take it two different ways, and that's fine. It's whichever way you want to take it. I'm not going to argue the situation. But the Fall River Police Department has supposedly or has reported that they have hired an outside investigator to find out about this posting and where it came from, who it came from. But they're trying to find out where it came from and who they came from. But the officer that did it, or the person who did it, is now in a position which has zero contact with the public. So why are we spending money on an outside investigator? I mean, does that say that our own police force can't investigate situations like this? That doesn't instill a lot of confidence. Neither did that posting. So, Mr. Police Chief, I would ask that you instill the confidence in the people of the Fall River Police Department. We have many, many, many good police officers. And, I know many of them personally. And I don't have a problem with them. I think they act accordingly, and I think that they act in a very professional manner. But, when you're talking about hiring an outside investigator, that then creates in me a sense that can we not trust our own investigations?
Yeah, this is a very, very volatile topic. But let me say that you mentioned Gene, and we told Gene, we do a show now every other week with Gene St. Pierre, and it's on the Bottom Line, is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds still online.
Yeah, it's on the Bottom Line. So if you want to watch Gene's show, we're doing a lot. We're doing a lot with Gene, and we have an hour show, so we talk about a lot of subjects. So if you want to watch something, it's available on Facebook, and just get on the Bottom Line, and you'll find it. But
I got to cut you off there, Chip. Chip, I got to cut you off. We're out of time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day. Remember, stay safe, stay angry, wear a mask, and hold your politicians accountable. Have a great weekend.
And remember.